when you're ready.
Okay. So first of all, thank you everyone for gathering here tonight. It's kind of incredible that we were able to get everyone here, but it's also very incredibly sad why we're all here tonight. Um, I'll be directing the service, and if something comes up, I am on call for my job. So if something comes up, Aaron will have to take over, but let's pray that doesn't happen. Um, the service is going to be composed of a few parts. We're going to start with a short prayer, and that's going to be followed by a time for remembrance. Everyone is going to be welcome to share stories, experience, thoughts, anything they want with Lou. We can talk amongst ourselves about it. That's what we'll be going for. After that, we're going to transition to a farewell ceremony, which we'll be conducting in Valheim. Only the people involved with the ceremony will be allowed to join that server, unfortunately, because of server limitations. But Aaron or Ice will be streaming it, and we'll all be able to watch there. So, if you don't mind, let's join me in a short prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we have come together this night in remembrance of our brother and friend, Luke Ferguson. We pray that you've received him into your embrace. We pray that his family, his friends, and all of us gathered here tonight find comfort in the long days and years ahead. We thank you for blessing us with his life, that we have had the unique fortune of knowing him and being able to be his friend. May we always cherish the memories that we've made together, and may we find comfort in each other as we move forward in this life without him. In Jesus' name, amen. So now, let's take this time to remember him. I'll start by sharing what I appreciated most about Luke, and then we'll proceed through the user list in Discord, starting with Argosy since he's at the top. But if you don't feel comfortable saying anything, if you don't have anything you want to say, just remain silent for a moment, or just say next, and we'll move on to the next person. I think, reflecting on the past couple of days, what I genuinely appreciated most about Luke is just how he could be friends with pretty much anybody, and how he was always such a welcoming and kind person. How he was always able to, he always had like this obscure knowledge that he was freely able to share with anybody. And if he didn't know an answer to your obscure history question, he knew how to find it. And it's a heavy loss for me and for us to, look at our channels, look at our phones, and just knowing that we're not going to be able to hear from him ever again. Argosy, is there anything you would like to share? Okay, Blarg, is there anything you would like to share tonight?
I mean, it's a heavy loss. He was someone who always cared about everyone, no matter who they were, and was always there for them. And I mean, I think I'm gonna miss the most that, after a hard day of work, I'd come home and surefire one of the people I knew was waiting for me was, one of the people who probably shared some of the most interest with. And I'm sad that I don't have, that that buddy outlet anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. I would come home from work too and just eat my dinner and just keep an eye on who was on, and if he was there, that I would just stop what I was doing and join him. But Blubbers, is there anything you would want to add or share?
Just throughout my gaming career, running multiple gaming communities, meeting countless numbers of people, Luke was always and definitely one of the most genuine, most sincere, and just one of the best guys that I think we all had the privilege of playing video games with. So he'll surely be missed.
Yeah, thank you. Brodog, is there anything you would like to share?
Hey, I'll keep mine short and sweet. I just want to thank Luke for being one of the most outgoing guys and making everyone that made his presence. He was always outgoing and made everyone feel included.
Well, thank you. Doomba?
Sure. Luke, I know I'm not an easy person to get along with in a lot of ways, but Luke always made me feel welcome, and we got along pretty well. He understood my humor. We used to play squad together and that kind of thing. I didn't know him very long, but I knew him long enough to know that he was good people, and definitely gonna miss him.
Yeah, we will. Evan?
Memory that comes to mind is after Mark's wedding, the long road trip home where we were both exhausted and all taking turns driving the truck back. I think at least Aaron was with us, and Luke and I sang through to stay awake the entire Hamilton soundtrack, not once, but I think maybe 3 times. And alternating between with some Moana in there and taking breaks and stuff. And he's a real cool dude with a lot of talents. And man, he's been so much a part of our lives regularly that it's just I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Patience, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, my favorite thing was whenever I was playing a game, and if I didn't know what was going on or what I needed to do, I could just yell out, "Luke, what do I do?" or "How do I do this?" And I knew he was going to drop what he was doing and help me.
Yeah. Mark, is there anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this without crying, but
Well, tears are welcome.
yeah, it's gonna be really hard. Knowing that Luke isn't here, because I always enjoyed his presence. He was always willing to tolerate me talking about my weird, obscure games that I enjoyed playing, and he would always make a very concerted effort to understand why I enjoyed it. So very much appreciated and loved that part about him.
Fusions? Graves, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, just, since the first time I logged on here, I think the first person to actually talk to me and say hey and make me feel welcome was Luke. And, when I'd go away for work stuff and then come back and see him on, I'd always be like, oh, somebody I can go nerd out with about just the random stuff, talk about guns or any games or anything really. And it's definitely going to be a little bit less of a bright place without him around on a regular basis.
Yeah, hey, you could talk to about, the most obscure tabletops, to firearms, to history. He had such a knowledge of a wide range of subjects. It was so impressive. Aaron, what would you like to share?
Yeah, I've got quite a bit. If you guys will humor me.
Take all the time you need.
Yeah, so we all know Luke liked to build in whatever games he was in. Really recently, he showed me the longhouse that he built in Valheim, and he was incredibly proud of that. And I really admire the focus and work that it took to do stuff like that. And even when I knew him many years ago, we were playing Minecraft together. He was very interested in building things that were just right in his vision and his eye. I'm gonna miss his corny jokes and his lame play on words, where he just takes something and spin it in one of those ways that makes you groan and go, ha ha, very funny. And I'll miss his laugh too. I appreciated hearing his laugh when I made a joke. or when someone else made a joke. And a lot of this has already been said. He was kind to a fault. I remember one time we were playing Astroneer, and my wife was playing, and he was playing, and I sped ahead. And who was it that was hanging back with my wife, showing her how to play the game, but Luke? And it made me reflect and say, I need to be better about things like this, about not leaving people in the dust in a video game, and taking time to teach them and make sure that they're enjoying it as well. We all know Luke was incredibly generous. There are probably maybe only a few of us in this channel who haven't had a game bought for them by Luke, and that's probably just because he didn't get to know him quite enough, or weren't around him when we were starting a new game. He was very quick to pull the trigger to make sure that everyone was included and that we got to have a good time. In that sense, I think he had a servant's heart. From showing people how to play to playing games that were support classes that none of the rest of us wanted to play because we needed it in the party. We didn't even have to ask. He just took those roles, and then and he was always great to talk to. He was curious about what I was doing. He let me sit down and explain something that was highly technical, and he was interested and would ask questions, and it made me feel loved and valued. And he always made a channel friendlier. When I would see him here in Discord, I would be far more likely to hop in a channel and chat or just see how things were going on if I saw him in the channel, as many of us I think have alluded to or said. And then the last thing I have to share for now, even though there's a lot more, I knew him for well over 13 years. We actually were same age. We were in a scout troop together, so we've known each other for a long time. He was one of the founding members of this group, and so in more ways than one, he is why we are here. Back when, days of old, I was playing games and reaching out to some people here or there to play a game with me when, it was maybe this group, if you could call it that, at that time was like 4 people. And he was there through all the stages and shifts and trouble and reorganizations, and he was what we've described him as here: a friend, a brother, and an integral part of our group. And I'm going to deeply miss him. Thanks, Scuba. That's all I got.
Of course. Kim, is there anything you'd like to share with us tonight?
Yeah. Luke, one of the things that I remember the most about him was he was one of my favorite conversation partners. He always had so many different opinions, but all of them had so much knowledge behind them. And he himself was just such a knowledgeable guy to learn stuff from. And I remember just so many hours sitting in the TeamSpeak talking to him. One of the distinct things I remember was just mouthing off in his ear for hours and hours, and then suddenly just pipes up, "Kim, sorry to cut you off, buddy, but it's 6 a.m. over here, and I haven't slept in like 24 hours. 24 hours." And it just
Yeah, just not having that opportunity again it's going to be tough.
Yeah, sorry. He meant a lot to me, and he was a really big part of my life, and I really appreciate everything he's done for me, and also the kindness that he's shown to my friends as well. So I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah. Koa, is there anything you would want to share about Luke?
I mean, it was pretty much guaranteed at least once a week. I would be done playing games with Blubbers or something like that, and it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning. And Luke would pop in and do one of two things. He'd either would just be popping in to say goodnight because he's heading off and he was just hop through all the channels to say goodnight to everybody. Or me and him would stay up for 4 or 5 hours, and then we'd look at the time and it's like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and we've been rambling for hours about stuff that it doesn't matter at all. And, the past couple months that was becoming pretty frequent, and I'm gonna miss that. But I think I can definitely say every time I think about Luke, it's there's gonna be a smile on my face because he was just a genuinely good and kind person who I have no negative memories of, and he was definitely a light. He was definitely a really, really, really good guy.
Thank you. Ronnie, is there anything you'd want to share with us tonight about Luke?
Yeah. I hope I can speak coherently, gather my thoughts right. But I didn't know Luke too well, to be honest. But every time I had the joy of speaking to him, he was such a joyful guy, and I just remember being in the TeamSpeak, playing Siege with Calvin, and every now and then, almost every time we'd play, he would join randomly, and he'd be our rook, he'd be our armor. He'd say, "Everyone, pick up your sweater vests," and he would say that very often. And he was just a genuinely nice person. And I wanted to share specifically. I had graduated high school just only like 3 years ago, and that was around when we were playing. When I was still playing games in the TeamSpeak and such. And I hadn't known this until it arrived, but he had bought and shipped a Nintendo Switch to me to commemorate my entry to college. Even though I barely knew him personally, we spent quite a bit of time together, and even then I guess that was enough for him to do such a kind thing, because I had been wanting it for a long time and I didn't have any access to any money or anything. And with that Switch, I grew closer with my friends in college, my roommates, and I just think that was just one example, but Luke has impacted my life in that 1 year we were playing games in more ways than he could have ever realized. So I'm gonna miss him a lot.
That's incredible. It's tough that we're realizing now just the absolute impact that one person has had on all of our lives.
It's the worst part, I think.
And it's going to be tough going forward and seeing all those reminders and memories of how he affected us and how we thought and approached our days. And yeah, I just don't. Yeah. Anne, I think that's your name. I don't want to call you Mrs. Binary. Is there anything you'd want to share with us?
Yeah, I'm gonna ramble a little bit too, so apologies ahead of time.
Rambling is welcome here.
Luke was one of the first guys that I met when, Mark and I got engaged, and even before that when we were dating and I moved out here, and, I didn't know hardly anybody, I didn't have any friends, and, Evan and Ice and Luke and Blarg and Woodbridge or Cameron, they were all just so nice, to the girl who was stealing their friend, and they were always down to come over for games. I'm pretty sure when Mark moved into the first apartment we ended up sharing, he didn't have any chairs, so I and Luke ran to Walmart and bought him a couple of chairs that we still have, like those really cheap folding chairs, but they were gonna come over and play games, and it was just so nice to have friends too. And Luke drove out with Mark and Daisy um to our wedding, and Mark loves to tell the story of how, he and Luke went into a gas station or something to go to the bathroom, and they came out, and I don't know if it was Luke or Mark had bought some combos, those really disgusting like combos, and Daisy had just hopped in the front seat, was eating all of them, and Luke was like, "Oh no, Daisy!" He was like worried that she was gonna be sick or something, and he was just always so fun and funny, and was just he was just like a really delightful person to be around. And he never, you know, he was like Thumper. If you don't have a nice thing to say, don't say anything at all. He was just always jolly and happy when he was around me. And it's just something that's so sad when you know that you're not gonna hear, the little voices that he would do in playing games, or you're not gonna hear, any of his jokes anymore. And it's just now we have these memories to sustain us. Um, and I'm just really gonna miss him as part of the group that initially welcomed me into the next chapter of my life. I'm also here to pass on Mercy. Some of you guys know her. Um, and Andreas, they came over a lot for game nights, like board game nights, and they are deeply saddened by this and just wanted to pass on their condolences. And my parents as well. I called them, and they remember Luke. They remember all you guys who came to our wedding, and they were just so sorry to hear that this had happened, and wanted everybody to know that this is something that's, on their hearts and minds, and that they're praying for all of this. I'm just really gonna miss not not having Luke anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be. That's good. Yeah, thank you for sharing um, that with us. I There was a point in my life where I thought I was going to be moving to Texas because there was someone there that I had a relationship with, and I always thought of you guys as a second family, and I could have seen myself doing something similar to what Anne did, and leaving all my family and my friends, did starting fresh somewhere, but knowing that I wouldn't really be far away from a family. And
And sorry, I want to say, if anybody needs people, we're here for you. Like night or day, whatever, we are here for you guys. Like we're all here for you guys.
mhm. And yeah, just knowing that there was a family in Texas that I could go to, and that Luke would be part of it as well as everyone else here. Um, Matthew, is there anything you'd want to share about Luke?
Yeah, so to avoid pretty well trodden ground at this point, I'll just make mine a little personal anecdote. Me and him, we always were able to relate over Warhammer 40K modeling. I actually encouraged him to actually get into it because he was always an artistic person. I figured he'd do well with miniature painting and all that. So he ended up getting some Deathcore Krieg models and a Valkyrie gunship to paint up. And I remember my birthday rolled around last year, and he rang me up and said, I bought you a Gorkanaut, and it's in the mail already. And I'm sitting here like, what? It's for those not familiar, it's a pretty expensive mech model that he had gotten me. Like, I don't remember the price offhand, but I'm pretty sure it's triple digits, like somewhere 100, 150 would be my guess. And
Oh
I
my
remember
gosh.
telling him, hey, I'd put it together and send him the pictures, and of course, that's when I got my new job, pulling all these hours a week, and I just never got around to putting the thing together. And hell, it's still sitting here on my desk on the sprue and all that. And every time I look at it, it's just like he never got to see me put it together, and he was always so excited every time I would mention it. So yeah, live in the moment, guys. Don't let later be an excuse.
Yeah.
'Cause now it's too late.
Thank you, Matthew. Hoff, is there anything you would want to add?
Yeah, I didn't know him for very long, but by far he was probably one of the most friendly people I've ever met. He always seemed to work hard to make sure anybody was included, no matter how they were acting, what they were doing. He made efforts to make sure to relate or be able to carry in any conversation that anybody was starting. I know he even went through and would look up things he didn't know if people were talking about, just so that way he could make people feel included all the time. And yeah, he was just a really awesome guy from a really awesome friend group, and was always one of the first people to make sure, check in on someone if they were new to the group, and make sure that they were doing okay, and they got to talk and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible just how just consistently kind he was, and how he was such a massive part in making sure anybody and everybody was welcome and had a friend here. Tika, is there anything you would like to share about Luke?
Yeah, something that I will always miss about Luke is being able to let my guard down, even if I'm having like a really crappy day. He goes out of his way to just go beyond and make me happy, no matter whether it's talking to me in Discord or playing a game. It wouldn't matter. He will just take the time to just make me happy or make everyone else in the Discord happy. He always had that kind of energy about him, no matter if he himself was having a crappy day or things were going on in his life. He just wanted just pure happiness within the Discord, and nothing would really stop him from doing that. And when I miss playing games with him and talking to him and just other things, I just wish he was here. And I know there's not a lot of things that won't, change that, but it'll just take time, honestly.
Yeah, he, as I said, he really had a servant's heart. His selflessness and consideration was boundless. You would be hard pressed to get him to a point where he wouldn't be considerate for somebody or wouldn't be going out of his way to help somebody. Nick, is there anything you would like to share about Luke?
Yeah. I haven't been here for too long and don't really interact with a lot of people. When I first joined this server, I didn't really think I would really fit in or hang out with a lot of people, and Luke kind of quelled those fears. It's very rare for me to meet someone and just instantly kind of click with them and feel at ease being able to talk with them. I remember not too long ago, Luke got me into GTFO, and we spent just an entire night just staying up and just bashing our heads against the brick wall. Just cracking just dad jokes, essentially. And Um,
Yeah,
no,
his
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
his sense of humor was really unique. He, as I mentioned earlier, he would always find a way to turn something around to make some like goofy pun or one of those groaning jokes, and I can imagine the dad jokes he was making while you were in the depths of whatever that game is, and just trying to get through it. Woodbridge has requested to go last, so we will go to Shadow. And is there anything you would want to share about Luke?
Yeah, he was always the kind of guy I crack a lot of really bad jokes a lot. He was always the guy that I could always expect a pity laugh from, which is always appreciated. And he was also one of the most generous guys I'd ever met. I was speaking about it in the lumberjack chat earlier, but I looked back over my DM history, and the first thing he had ever sent me on Discord was a Steam key, obviously, for a game. I don't even know what it was for. And the last message he sent me was also a Steam key. It was when we were playing, I don't know, whatever it was, and then we were switching over to Squad, and I didn't have it. I went to buy it. My card number had changed, and so I went to go get my wallet from the other room and to come back. By the time I had come back, he had already bought it and sent it to me. And so I definitely know that he brought a light to every one that he interacted with. To me, I always enjoyed spending time with him. And yeah, he will be missed.
Thank you. Woodbridge, it's your turn.
Actually, sorry, I was away from my computer at the beginning, so sorry to step in. But if I can just say a couple words. When I first got introduced to the Lumberjacks here, Luke was, I think, aside from knowing Blubbers and Koa, Luke was probably the very first person I met. And I think back then we even only had TeamSpeak. Discord wasn't even a thing. And I remember just staying up really, really late with Luke, grinding some random game, like endlessly grinding like the stupidest thing in the game you could probably think of. And just talking about anything for almost forever. And even though 99% of the time I spent with Luke was online, easily my favorite memories with him was when I visited Texas and I had the privilege to meet him in real life. And like his genuineness and his kindness that you knew of him from being online, you met him in person, and it was all still there. I remember he got a really good laugh because I was underage when I went to Texas, but here in Canada I was able to drink, so kind of caught me off guard when I went to go get a beer, and the server denied me, and Luke never let that die down, even to when even to these recent days. Even though I'm not around too much anymore, every time I'd step in, every now and then, Luke would be around and be able to talk with him. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well for sharing. Woodbridge, now it's your turn.
Well, as the historian, I want to name what this thing is. We have 20 some odd people from, I'll say across the world, because that's fitting, sitting in here and telling stories collected over years. And over those years, everyone in this room has had ups and downs and peaks and valleys in their life. And this thing, no matter how bad that valley got, you showed up at this thing. You felt like family when you needed to feel known. You felt known. When you needed to feel seen, you felt seen. And an integral source of constant joy is Luke. And to be fair, I'll name it, Luke was not always the nicest person. Granted, I don't think any of y'all had him and 2 other people in this room threaten to traffic you once you got to Juarez. For 16 hours. And we've heard testament after testament that I think to a lot of people listening to this who don't get the importance that touched each and every one of us in these small bits you said.
Thank you.
Um,
At this point, oh, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you if you haven't finished.
And the one thing that we can't do is let this thing that Luke built and impacted become shadowed by this in the way that doesn't hold it tighter. Everyone has said a million. I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours about every nicety, every laugh, every moment that he was the moss on the side of the rock that shit told you in whatever moment where the sun was. And I will leave with 3 words. This is pod racing.
Okay, everyone's had a chance to share a memory of Luke. I would like to open this up to a more general conversation now. If anyone wants to talk to each other about something they shared or something they want to, any questions about Luke, we'll do that for a little bit, and then we'll go to our concluding ceremony. I'll start with a question for Aaron. Is there anything you want to recall about when you met him in the Scouts?
I think it's one of those things where it was so long ago that I don't have a clear picture. I don't remember the first time, but it's one of those things where you look back and you say, like, I don't remember a time where at least, in recent history, where I didn't know Luke. Like, I probably was at hundreds of scout meetings with him. I don't know the number of campouts. And he had that same attitude of serving and helping people and making sure that things are okay from what I remember even then.
I remember the first time when I met Luke at the Scouts, and there was not an imprint of his character that was not there then.
Yeah, and I know Luke liked Lord of the Rings a decent bit, and I hope this doesn't seem demeaning in any way. He was very much a Samwise Gamgee throughout the years to me. Not that I'd call myself a Frodo, but like having that person who's there and encouraging and says, "Oh, you need help, even though it's going to be hard. Let me help."
Every time. Aaron, so from what you said prior, would you say that Luke was the one who arranges the blocks?
Sure. Luke definitely played a major role in arranging the blocks. Thanks, Goober.
I'll say something. This is more of a general thing. As many of you know, I like to play Eve, but it's not really about me. So, Luke was again always willing to talk about the weird stuff that I did. And, anyways, what I've gone ahead and done. I just put what I did in general chat. Eve Online has a what is basically a cemetery, but it's a place where you can anchor a can and you can name it whatever you want, and it's next to a really important, or rather, it's a specific citadel for anyone who has fallen in your life, and so that is it's kind of something I had to do
really
myself.
thankful that you did that.
Yeah, I can imagine him eye rolling me and saying, "Oh, this is how you finally get me to play Eve, huh?" And the answer is yes, Luke. That's going to drag you in
None of us
one way
can
or
escape,
another.
even in death, we still end up in Eve somehow.
Yeah, get him into the MLM somehow.
Exactly. So
It's a long play.
Yeah.
Question for Mark didn't know this, but some of the others might know. Was there a charity that Luke really cared about, or something that, I mean, I have heard about the incident that he randomly donated $5,000 to a charity when he was drunk, but was there anything that was really close to his heart? Because my parents said that they would like to give something in his memory.
I personally don't trying to think of something he was passionate about. And right now I'm just kind of my mind spacing and I'm having a hard time putting a finger on it.
I think we've pretty much listed like a huge range of subjects of things that he was passionate about and well knowledgeable on.
So maybe correct me if this isn't appropriate. Go ahead, Cameron.
Two things. One, on his funeral services later in the week, the church service will be streamed. I've been told that a good friend, his sister-in-law, on Facebook to access the stream of the service. And I will link that in the Lumberjack chat. But the other thing is part of that. If there's anything that, whether it was a game or a particular physical thing that you associate with Luke in his life, if you wouldn't mind typing that in the Lumberjack or whichever thread in here, it'd be helpful for those proceedings to best be a statement of who he is.
To answer your question, and I may not be correct about this, but I know Luke was always striving to find a place to call his own apartment, his own home, and I think a fitting donation would be to help somebody else find a home and a place they can call their own for your parents. That's but if someone else has something more appropriate they know of, feel free to add that as well. I think now would be a good time for us to say some goodbyes to Luke before we go to the closing ceremony. Argosy, is there anything you want to say?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Blarg, do you have any final words?
I'm gonna forever miss you, buddy. And I know we didn't get to beat Fatalis together, but I made it my commitment with the help of those who you hunted with to do it and be completing Rise for you.
Thank you. Blubbers, is there any final words?
Not really anything that hasn't been said, just that Luke will definitely be missed. He was one of my favorite people to play video games with.
Brodog.
We're all gonna miss you, Luke, and this community. This is your legacy. It's what you helped create.
Doomba.
Pouring one out for you, Luke. Hope you have a good time in the next life.
Thank you. Evan.
I'm happy that we were able to share part of our journeys with you, and I know that we'll be happy again when we meet in the next adventure. May you rest in peace.
Patience.
Well, better for having known you, Luke. Bye.
Mark.
You're a really good friend, Luke, and I hope we could meet again someday.
Fusions. Graves.
Just you'll be missed, man. All your corny jokes and your willingness to always help will be very, very sorely missed.
Aaron.
There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, and in many ways you were that friend to me, Luke. I will deeply miss you, and I hope to see you again.
Calvin.
I'm gonna miss Luke, and I want to thank him for the impact that he made on my life, and for the kindness that he showed to me and my friends. And he will remain forever in my heart.
Ronnie.
I will never forget you, Luke, for everything, for joyous times we had. In particular, I remember specifically the two of us spending New Year's together like 3 years ago, and I think I'll remember those times whenever that comes around. So I'll miss you.
Anne.
Goodbye, Luke Ferguson. You were an amazing human being, and I know we're going to meet again one day. Goodbye.
Matthew.
I already poured one out for him. I've said my goodbyes already.
Huff.
You're a great person, Luke, and I look forward to seeing you again someday.
Tika.
Keep playing that hunter horn, baby.
Nick.
I'm gonna miss you, my man, and I hope you're looking down on us and watching over us. Hope to see you again. Well, no, I guess not too soon, but keep the seats warm for us when we get there.
Thank you.
You are a brother, a friend, and I wish you Godspeed.
And Forrest.
Nothing else other than you will be greatly missed.
Okay. At this point, we're going to start transitioning into Valheim. Those who are conducting that ceremony, please go ahead and start taking your positions now. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your thoughts, your memories. I know there's going to be a lot more sharing in the days ahead. And the time we spent here swapping tales is nowhere close to being able to really capture the gravitas of the impact he's had on us. And I don't think any of us ever can really understand that. Unfortunately, our friend Alex, also known as Lightning, wasn't able to make it. But I know that he's also very much impacted by Luke's passing. He lives in the United Kingdom, and the time difference and Luke's night shifts meant they usually spent a lot of time together while they were both at work. And they would talk on a wide variety of subjects. Sometimes they just have lighthearted, casual conversations. Other days they'd talk about really heavy social, economic, political issues. And I know that Alex really misses that. He shows up to work and checks the Discord to see if he's there, and he's not, and he never will be again. But in any case, as we conclude this service, there will be music accompanying the ceremony. When the music starts, a bot named Groovy will join the channel. If you have it muted, please unmute it to listen to the music. We have chosen to conclude the service in Valheim with a farewell to Luke, and he spent a lot of his final days exploring his creativity and embarking on journeys with us here in Valheim. Luke spent several days and nights working on this longhouse. It was a great challenge and a great accomplishment for him, and we recognize his amazing achievement, and we see that part of his spirit will always live here in this longhouse. But tonight, Aaron will be carrying that spirit as we say goodbye in this ceremony. So if you have a moment, just tune into the live stream that ICE is broadcasting, and we'll start our goodbye ceremony now.
dearest friend Luke, we say goodbye. Now more than ever, we have noticed this impact that you have had on our lives. And here we stand to carry on the memories you've given us, the inspiration you have left us, the lessons you have taught us, the knowledge you freely shared with us. You started your journey before us, but we look forward to meeting you again when we start ours. Goodbye, Luke.
And with that, I think we can conclude the ceremony. Thank you, everyone, for